Welcome to the deep dive. We're all about cutting through the noise, getting straight to the heart of complex topics.
And today, we're really diving deep.
Absolutely. We're plunging headfirst into the sheer drama of Indian state politics, specifically Maharashtra. This isn't just any state. People often call it a microcosm of Indian democracy. It's a place where, loyalties shift constantly, surprising alliances pop up, and power can change hands almost overnight.
It really is. It's a political landscape in constant motion, sometimes breathtakingly so. It's like a masterclass in strategy, unexpected turns. It really gives unique insights into the bigger Indian political story.
Totally agree. So our mission today is simple. Give you a clear, concise understanding of how this powerful state got to its current, pretty intricate political setup.
Yeah, untangle the threads a bit.
Exactly. We're using a detailed overview of Maharashtra's politics covering decades of its history, the big shifts, the key players.
It's quite a history.
It is, and by the end of this, you'll have a really solid grasp of the forces, both historical and recent, that have shaped Maharashtra's politics. Hopefully you'll understand the why behind those headlines you see.
Right. Context is everything here.
Okay, let's kick things off at the beginning. Maharashtra state, officially formed in 1960. It came out of the Samyukta Maharashtra movement. What were the sort of foundational elements shaping its early political character? And why is it seen as such a historical hub for Indian political thought?
Well, what's really fascinating is that Maharashtra didn't just appear. It kind of emerged with its own distinct political DNA already forming.
Okay.
It's been a crucible for Indian political ideas for centuries, really. Giving us major figures like Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Paul Gangadhar Tilak, and of course later on someone like Sharad Pawar.
Right, big names.
Huge. So early on, its politics really revolved around regional identity. I mean, the movement that created the state itself tells you that. Plus, agrarian issues were massive. Then you had the dynamics of Maratha politics, which has always been a powerful undercurrent, and this distinct urban-rural divide.
So these weren't just issues, they were like the bedrock.
Exactly. They are the fault lines, the foundations, everything else kind of built on top of that.
Yeah.
It set a precedent for identity politics that, honestly, you still see playing out today.
Okay, so after it formed, for decades, the Indian National Congress, the INC, was basically the only game in town.
Pretty much, yeah. Dominant.
What was it about their approach? How did they hold on to power for so long? And, what started to chip away at that stronghold?
Well, the INC's dominance in Maharashtra, it was built on a really specific strategy. Foundational development. Right. They focused heavily on agricultural development. They fostered these huge cooperative movements, especially in sugar and dairy, which became really powerful.
Right, the cooperative banks and factories.
Exactly. And they also pushed industrial growth, particularly in Mumbai and Pune. You had leaders like Yashwantrao Chavan, Yashwantrao Chavan. They became synonymous with this whole era.
So this created a sort of unique power structure.
It did. It created this socioeconomic model that empowered rural leadership through those cooperatives. But, ironically, that also, sowed the seeds for future regional power centers.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah. So their long reign started to fray in the 1990s. It wasn't just internal party splits, but also these regional power players who'd kind of grown up under the Congress system started to assert their own identities.
Right. So Congress's long grip starts loosening. That signals a new era, right, where regional identity, new ideologies come to the forefront.
Precisely.
Which brings us very neatly to a big shift in the 90s, the rise of new forces. Let's unpack the Shiv Sena first, their origins, their core ideas.
Okay, Shiv Sena, founded way back in 1966 by Bal Thackeray. It started as a regional Marathi ethno-nationalist party, meaning it strongly championed the rights, the identity of Marathi-speaking people within Maharashtra, particularly positioning itself against what they saw as outsiders impacting jobs and culture, especially in Mumbai.
Okay.
They built a lot of support there in Mumbai through this advocacy for Marathi pride, sometimes quite strong anti-immigration sentiments. And also embracing Hindutva, that political ideology, pushing for Hindu cultural nationalism.
And then they teamed up with the BJP.
Yes. In the 1990s, they formed a really crucial alliance with the Bharatiya Janata Party, the BJP. Now, the BJP was initially a pretty minor player in Maharashtra,
Right.
But they grew significantly, partly because of the national momentum, the rise of Hindutva nationally, and also gaining support from the urban middle class within Maharashtra itself.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, I think. The formation of their first government together in the state What was the real significance of that moment?
Oh, it was huge. The Shiv Sena BJP alliance, they actually formed their first government in Maharashtra in 1995. Manohar Joshi was the first CM, then later Narayan Rine.
And this wasn't just swapping one party for another.
Not at all. This fundamentally shifted the state's ideological center. For decades, Maharashtra's politics under Congress had been largely secular, agrarian-focused. This alliance proved that a blend of aggressive Marathi identity politics and Hindutva could successfully challenge that whole established narrative. It was a profound turning point, really changed Maharashtra's political DNA.
And around the same time, another major event, the NCP forming, what impact did that have, especially since it came from within the Congress?
Yeah, that was another seismic shift, mostly engineered by the political heavyweight Sharad Pawar.
Right.
In 1999, he split from the Congress, formed the Nationalist Congress Party, the NCP. The famous stated reason was Sonia Gandhi's foreign origin. But this wasn't just about personalities. It fractured the traditional Congress vote base. It fundamentally altered the state's political map.
Yeah.
It basically ensured that single-party dominance was over, and it ushered in this whole era of complex, often messy, coalition governments.
Which brings us to that coalition era itself. The Congress-NCP rule, 15 years from 1999 to 2014. What were their main successes? And what were the big challenges, the things that really caused problems?
Right, that 15-year stretch. They had various chief ministers, Vilasrao Deshmukh, Ashok Chavan, Prithviraj Chavan. They definitely oversaw significant infrastructure growth, particularly in urban areas. You saw a lot happening there. But their tenure was also pretty heavily marked by several high-profile corruption scandals. The Adarsh housing scam was probably the most notorious. That really damaged public trust quite badly.
I remember that, yeah.
And alongside that, you had the growing issue of agrarian distress. Farmer suicides, especially in the Vidarbha region, became a major, persistent political crisis.
A very emotional issue, too.
Deeply emotional and deeply political. It wasn't just economics. It highlighted this growing rural-urban gap.
Yeah.
The feeling in farming communities that they were being neglected. That created a lot of discontent.
Okay, let's shift gears to 2014, the big Modi wave across India. How did that national surge for Prime Minister Modi and the BJP play out in Maharashtra? How did it lead to such a dramatic power shift there?
Well, the 2014 Modi wave had a profound impact, almost tectonic, you could say, for Maharashtra.
Right.
The BJP emerged as the single largest party in the assembly elections. That effectively ended the 15-year run of the Congress-NCP coalition.
A huge upset.
Massive. It wasn't just a change of government. It signaled a real shift in voter sentiment. People seemed to want stronger leadership, maybe moving towards the BJP's platform of development and Hindutva.
And Fadnavis became CM?
Yes, Devendra Fadnavis became the first BJP chief minister from the Vidarbha region, which itself broke a long tradition of CMs coming from western Maharashtra. Now, interestingly, the BJP ruled with outside support from the Shiv Sena.
So allies, but not quite.
Exactly. The tensions between them were frequent, often quite public, very strained throughout their term. It definitely hinted at the instability and the shifting alliances that were yet to come.
Okay, fast forward to 2019, the Maharashtra political crisis. This was just political chaos, wasn't it? A real roller coaster of alliances, betrayals. Can you break down just how dramatic those events were? What did it feel like watching it unfold?
Oh, it was pure political theater. Just breathtaking, really.
Yeah.
Backroom deals, sudden moves. It kept everyone completely on edge.
So what happened first?
Well, the election results themselves set the stage. They were tight. BJP got 105 seats, Shiv Sena 56, NCP 54, Congress 44.
Oh.
Very. Now, BJP and Shiv Sena had fought together in a pre-poll alliance, but afterwards, Shiv Sena refused to support the BJP unless they agreed to a rotational chief ministership sharing the top job.
And the BJP said no.
BJP rejected it. That led to their dramatic split, breaking a decades-old alliance.
Wow. Then what?
Then came the really shocking bit, the 80-hour government.
Right. That was unbelievable.
Completely. Imagine waking up one morning, news flashes, Devendra Fadnavis sworn in as CM with Ajit Pawar from the NCP Sharad Pawar's nephew as his deputy CM.
How did that even happen?
It was done in an early morning, almost secretive ceremony, defied all expectations, all the negotiations happening elsewhere, an unprecedented gamble.
But it didn't last.
Collapsed almost immediately. Swiftly fell apart after Ajit Pawar went back to the NCP fold. Just 80 hours.
Incredible.
And that paved the way for something even more improbable. The formation of the Maha Vikas Aghadi, the MVA.
The three-party coalition.
An utterly unexpected coalition. Shiv Sena, NCP, and Congress, parties that had been bitter rivals for decades.
And Uddhav Thackeray became CM.
Uddhav Thackeray, yes. The first member of the Thackeray family ever to hold a constitutional post. It marked this huge historic ideological shift for Shiv Sena, aligning with secular parties they'd spent years opposing. It's extraordinary.
Okay, so you think maybe things might settle down after that drama.
You'd think.
But nope. June 2022, another massive upheaval totally reshapes the government again. Tell us about this.
Well, this political coup. Who was the key figure? What were the stated reasons for splitting the Shiv Sena this time? Yeah, just when the dust seemed to be settling, another earthquake. Eknath Shinde, a very senior Shiv Sena leader, a guy seen as a loyalist for decades, rebelled.
With how many MLAs?
He took over 40 MLAs with him, a significant chunk of the party's legislative strength.
And their demand.
Their primary demand, stated publicly, was a return to what they called original Hindutva. They argued the MVA government, the alliance with Congress and NCP, had strayed too far from Shiv Sena's core ideology. They wanted an alliance with the BJP instead.
So back to the old partner.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
This rebellion put immense pressure on Uddhav Thackeray, and ultimately he resigned as chief minister.
Shinde took over.
Eknath Shinde became the new chief minister, and Devendra Fadnavis returned, this time as deputy CM, with the BJP backing the whole arrangement.
So this formally split the Shiv Sena.
Absolutely. Formally split the party right down the middle.
Yeah.
You ended up with two distinct factions. Shiv Sena, Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray, led by Uddhav, obviously, and Balasaheb Banki Shiv Sena, led by Shinde.
And the election commission got involved.
Yes. The election commission later recognized the Shinde-led faction as the legitimate Shiv Sena, granting them the original party name and the iconic bow and arrow symbol.
So with these two factions now claiming the legacy, what does this actually mean for Shiv Sena's identity? Is it even the same party Bal Thackeray founded anymore? Has its core been fundamentally changed?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It means you have two distinct groups, both fiercely claiming they represent the real Shiv Sena legacy and ideology, but they're on completely different political tracks now.
How so?
Well, Uddhav's faction is trying to navigate this space, balancing its Hindutva roots, perhaps, with a more inclusive approach, given its recent history partnering with secular parties like Congress and NCP.
Okay.
The Shinde faction, now officially the Shiv Sena, has aligned firmly with the BJP. They're emphasizing what they see as the core Hindutva principles, the original vision of Bal Thackeray.
So it's fractured the base.
Definitely fractured the Marathi ethno-nationalist vote.
Yeah.
And it raises these really deep questions about what Shiv Sena even represents today in Maharashtra. Is it the ideology, the family legacy, the party structure? It's all up for debate.
And just when you think the roller coaster has stopped,
Never stops in Maharashtra.
the drama continued. Highlight this latest split, the one within the NCP this time, and what did that mean for the government structure? Because it got even more complicated, right?
Unbelievably complicated.
Yeah.
So in 2023, just as people were trying to make sense of the Shiv Sena split, Ajit Pawar, Sharda Pawar's nephew, remember him from the 80-hour government?
You can't forget that.
He led another vertical split, this time within the NCP, the party founded by his uncle.
Another family split.
Another major family and party split.
Oh, yeah.
In a stunning move, he and a group of NCP MLAs then joined the existing Shinde Fadnavis government.
Okay, so how did that work?
He became another deputy chief minister.
Wait, how many does that make?
It resulted in this completely unprecedented situation. Maharashtra suddenly had 3 deputy CMs, Devendra Fadnavis, BJP, Eknath Shinde, Shiv Sena faction leader, also CM technically, but power dynamics are complex, and now Ajit Pawar, NCP faction leader.
3 deputy CM.
3, reflecting the incredibly complex power sharing needed just to hold this coalition together.
But what was the fallout from that?
Oh, immense political fallout. Sharad Pawar, the veteran leader, vowed to rebuild the original NCP from the ground up. There were widespread allegations of horse trading, inducements offered to MLAs to switch sides.
Right.
Accusations flew about central government agencies being misused to pressure political opponents. And of course, loud cries of deep ideological betrayal, particularly from the Sharad Pawar camp against his nephew.
Okay, so bringing us right up to the present day, what is the actual governing structure now in Maharashtra? Who's in charge, who's in opposition, and what are the really big issues facing the state that voters are actually thinking about?
Right, so currently, Maharashtra is governed by this tripartite alliance. The BJP, Eknath Shinde's Shiv Sena faction, and Ajit Pawar's NCP faction. They hold the reins of power.
And the opposition?
The opposition is essentially the MVA, the Mahavikas Aghadi, but in its post-split form. That's Uddhav Thackeray's Shiv Sena faction, Sharad Pawar's NCP faction, and the Congress. They remain a very strong force, especially in urban centers like Mumbai and Pune, and also in certain rural belts.
So the next election will be interesting.
Incredibly interesting. The upcoming 2024 Maharashtra Assembly elections are expected to be fiercely competitive, highly complex. It's going to be a real test of these new alliances, these fractured loyalties, and who the voters ultimately trust.
And on the ground level, away from the high-level political games, what are the key issues really influencing everyday life and politics right now?
There are several critical ones constantly bubbling up. The Maratha reservation agitation is a big one. This ongoing demand for quotas, for affirmative action for the Maratha community in government jobs and education, it leads to significant protests.
Still unresolved then.
Largely unresolved, yeah. Then you have persistent farmer protests linked to agrarian debt, crop prices, things like that. That remains a massive burden for many rural families. Urban infrastructure is always a hot topic. Big projects like the Mumbai Metro expansion, the controversial bullet train project, they generate a lot of debate.
Right.
Controversies around industry and investment also flare up, like that big Vedanta Foxconn semiconductor project moving out of Maharashtra caused a huge political storm.
I remember that controversy.
And underpinning a lot of this is the ongoing narrative battle, Hindutva versus secularism. Plus, you always have regional identity politics simmering, particularly concerns about perceived neglect of regions like Vidarbha and Marathwada compared to Western Maharashtra.
So pulling it all together.
If you connect all these dots, Maharashtra's politics today, it's just defined by these incredibly fluid alliances, deep ideological contradictions, parties working together who fundamentally disagree on core issues and strategies that seem purely focused on gaining and holding power.
A constant battle.
A constant battle. You've got multiple claimants to political legacies, multiple leaders trying to define party identities. It's this ongoing struggle over identity, ideology, and ultimately governance. It unfolds right before our eyes, constantly shifting.
It really is vibrant, volatile, utterly unpredictable. And like we said at the start, in so many ways, it really serves as this powerful microcosm of Indian democracy itself, offers unique insights into how the country's politics evolves.
Absolutely. This dynamic state shows us that in politics, what seems old can suddenly become new again, and what you expect to happen, while it can get turned completely on its head very quickly.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener, to mull over.
Yeah, something to think about. How does this very concept of political legacy or party identity keep evolving, or maybe even transforming in a state like Maharashtra? Especially when leaders, factions, frequently cross what used to be seen as really firm ideological lines, seemingly just for power.
What does that actually mean for the future of multi-party democracy? Does it lead to a more pragmatic, maybe results-oriented politics, or does it just create a more fractured, unstable, and perhaps cynical political landscape? Something to consider.